Hey, welcome to Sales 2.0. I hope you guys are having a great day here today. So far, so good? Yeah. Good. Great stuff going on. I love the evolution of Sales 3.0. I want to talk for 30 minutes. I got 30 minutes. I'm going to tell you it's going to be like 29 minutes and 48 seconds. I know, okay? Because I don't leave anything to chance. I'm not going to have time for questions and answers. We're going to talk about what I believe the most important thing you can focus on right now as you make your plans for 2017. Be happy to talk to whoever is interested in continuing the conversation afterwards. I want to introduce the company, though, that asked me to speak on their behalf is HireVue. But very quickly, if you don't know about them, you need to. They're the ones who really led the digital disruption of how we hire and train people. They've now morphed over into how we coach people, redefining how you interact with people via video. You can see the stuff up there. They're a great company doing great things. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a real simple story. I'm about sales, okay? If it's sales related, I can contribute. If it's not, I don't know what to do or say. I run a company called XVoyant. It's a play on words. Clairvoyant is a magical person that can see the future, right? We say that a sales leader more than everyone else should be able to see the future, but there's no magic required, okay? If you understand execution, you can predict the future through execution. And that's what we want to help people do. I've been around all the sides of sales there is. I've been in the leadership side, the contributor side. It's what I write about. It's what I speak about. I do about 100 of these things a year. It's what my passion is. And most important, I've worked with a lot of companies on it. Big ones, small ones, publicly traded ones, startups, people that are going to buy a startup, you name it, I've been in the middle of it. And I've done all right. I've won 15 of the American Business Awards from the Stevie Awards, more than anybody else in the country. And I've done it for a lot of different areas. It's about process, it's about leadership, it's a number of them. I don't say that to boast, I just say that today for 30 minutes, I have something that I think will contribute to each of you, okay? And I'm gonna dial it into 4 laws that you can use on your own, okay? I'm really active in this space. I wanna give you a few things that will help. And to set it up, I wanna build the case that we're in a time where things are changing and changing fast. Can we agree on that? Okay, there's 2 massive shifts happening. The first one is we're in a relationship economy. Now you may say, no duh, I've known that for a while. But if you're like most people, you think of it as you and your customers, not you and your salespeople, okay? Sales has changed even in the last 3 years. The ABCs of sales used to always be closing, now it's always be connecting, and not just with customers, but with salespeople. We used to be about accountability, now it's about development. What used to be about sales culture is now really development culture. So there's a lot of things happening there. The second one is the digital transformation continues. How we hire, how we train, how we build products, how we fulfill products, how we market. All those things have been transformed digitally, particularly at scale, right? I mean, I don't have to tell you that there's been a large financial institution in the news recently with a $185 million fine and 5,300 employees they fired, not because they're filled with crooks. It's because they pushed the more button, and when he's trying to scale it across the board, it was tough to do. Fair to say? And it led to people panicking. The reason that I bring it up is how you coach your team is the one part of the digital transformation that has not yet fully developed. It's the thing that you can invest in right now and create significant competitive advantage. So I'm going to share some ways of how we do that because it's a new era. There's new winners, there's new losers. Alice already talked about some of the things. Last year, only less than half, 44% of people hit their goal. If you're in the SaaS space, it's only about 1/3. Of the deals that were committed to close, only 46% closed. And these are things that people said, this is a lock. We got this, right? Compare that to the odds of gambling if you're in Vegas. If you're playing craps, you got a 49% chance of winning. Is something wrong with this if you got a better chance of winning as a gambler than as a professional sales leader? I see a lot of heads nodding. I hope I have your attention. We should not have that be what the odds are. And that's why the thing that disturbs me the most is what I want to finish the setup with. Last year, almost 1/3 of salespeople switched jobs. Some were fired, some quit. But we're in a place right now where these big convergences are happening, a relationship era and digital transformation, and those that get it will win, and those that are slow will be left behind, okay? Now, the case for coaching remains very strong. The last presentation we had was spot on. CEB is one of the companies that I work closely with. Hopefully you've seen some of these things. When you do training, you get a bump. If you layer coaching on top, you get a 4x return. I'm going fast because I have to, okay? If you look at blue bars here, blue bars means good coaching, gray bar means bad coaching. Every single performance band, stars, above average, average, below average, and dogs that you can't coach out of the kennel, their intent to stay with the company is driven by how well you coach them. Are you with me? So if it's that important that it drives production and retention, the next big question is who should do it? The answer is direct managers. Check that out. Everyone else, I don't care what the title is, internal sales specialist, external, they all suck at it compared to the direct manager in terms of effectiveness, which begs the most important thing that we can do to set up this presentation today. If the direct manager has to do it, and it drives retention, and it drives performance, how good are they? Any guesses how good they're at it? Survey says, it's what they're worst at. It's what they're worst at. So this should be a thing that makes you all super excited, because if you can fix this, you can have maybe your most defensible competitive advantage. Are you with me? How you lead people. Okay? Products get copied, all these things get copied, how you lead people can't be. I want to share with you why smart organizations have figured this out. When we invest in training or classes or things like that, we have a one-to-one response. We buy a class or a piece of technology hoping that we get a adoption, right? And we hope we get enough adoption to cover the cost. Smarter organizations are realizing that investing in coaching yields an almost infinite return. You guys with me? Because they have an impact on all these others around them that take different roles and bring other people in. It's almost impossible to measure. That's why today, as you scale and you prepare for 2017, choose to invest in coaching tools. And what you'll find is it moves the needle faster than anything else. Now, I could shut up and be done, and hopefully that's something that has you go home. But what I want to do is give you 4 ways to become legendary. This is an iconic picture in sports. Babe Ruth calling a shot in the 1928 World Series. Now, it wasn't a big deal that he hit a home run because he was the home run king of his era. True or false? It also wasn't a big deal that he hit 1 in that game because he hit 2. What made this one stand out? Who said that? You're right. He called it. He pointed first. He became legendary. So I want to ask you to think right now as you sit in this room at this table. What can you do to help your salespeople do this? And then you become legendary and iconic in their careers and their time that they work for you. Worth chasing? Okay? There are 4 ways to do it. I'm going to give you 4. This is Speedplay. I apologize in advance. It's going to go fast. I got 23 minutes to give you 4 things. Do the math. It's less than 8 minutes per topic. And Alice, I will not go long, okay? All right? Alice and I are friends, and I tend to keep it that way. So I'm going to go fast, so keep with me. You guys ready? Buckle up. Here we go. Number 1, if you do not have coaching, consistency, you don't have coaching. Let's say it again. Consistency, no. Coaching, no. I call it the law of cadence. When people bring me into organizations, they want me to help them build performance. And I found that we could sit in a room and we could come up with all the tactics for 2017. And with every single tactic we came up with, I could put it into 4 buckets. The first of the aptitude of who you hired, right? Your natural gifts. Second, their level of motivation. My definition there is their willingness to do whatever it takes to win without cheating. Started with Enron, now most recently with Wells. I have to talk about cheating, unfortunately, okay? Third, level of skills that they possess. My definition of a skill is something that I can get proficient in 6 months or less. Not expert, proficient. You guys with me? Last is what do you think your role is? And we would have a lot of fun, and if I had more time, we would have the debate on which one moves the needle fastest. All 4 of them need to have plans around to have sustained success. One of them gives you an almost immediate bump. And the one that it is role. Once you start having people see success, it gives them rewards, that drives engagement, they want more, it gives more at-bats so you can see where their skills are. But the reason that it's roles, it drives what you think a high-value activity is and a low-value activity. Does that make sense? If I can get more high-value activities, I almost always get immediate success. So what you think your role is drives how you spend your time and the tools that you use. Are you with me? The reason that's so important is every time that I work with an organization, we do a role audit. Right now I'm working with a large financial institution. The average number of roles that the salespeople in this organization thinks they have, you guys ready for this? 58. Every role spins off at least 3 activities. You with me? Do you see why understanding roles is so important? Now, when I work with organizations, they often tell me that it's hard. So this large organization I was talking with, I'm talking about leaders now, not salespeople, said, understanding my role here is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. To which I say, that's fine as long as it's a needle in a haystack that looks like that. So let's have some fun. If I was to say what's the role of a salesperson, what would you say it is? I say salesperson, you say role is to sell. Good. How hard was that? Let's call it produce. Can we do that? Call it produce. Now, I want to show you why this is so important that we're talking about sales leaders. So that's easy. Salespeople's job is to produce. We can produce lots of different ways, true or false. Sales leader, what's the role of a sales leader? I say sales leader, you say role is? Oh, it's all kinds of words coming at me now. I'm like in a wind tunnel of words. I'm dodging up here, right? It's a harder answer, isn't it? Here's what I think it is, the world according to Jeppsen. If the role of the salesperson is to produce, the role of the sales leader is to reproduce. Yes, I want you to reproduce with your salespeople. Not like that. We got not like that. I want you to reproduce skills so they can therefore produce. Does that make sense? And if you as a sales leader say, my primary role is to reproduce skills, would that change how you look at your job? For sure it would. Okay? So to keep going, this is why we often have coaching failures. Because we don't prioritize it. We stretch it for a second, and then when we stop stretching it, what happens? Snaps back. And you'll see symptoms that look like these 4 things. You start, you stop, you don't have a planned overall kind of objective where we're going, you only focus on accountability. How often do we do that? Right? That's a big mistake. That's why coaching has a black eye often, okay? And the last one is we only meet when there's a problem. That's the symptoms that we see. The first thing you need to do is you got to commit to coaching as a primary role, and you got to find a way. This is a way that I help companies use technology to scale. I don't care how you do it, but you better make sure that you have a way of saying, I know how frequently I'm going to meet in formalized coaching, not just deal chasing, but I'm talking skill development. Does that make sense? And the bigger you are, the bigger the challenge, and it's a big deal for you to be able to have a way of doing that. All right, the biggest difference between having a coaching session and a conversation is this, it's consistency. So I'd like you to remember this quote right here. If you want to be taken seriously as a leader and a coach, be consistent, okay? Now that's law 1. I'm fast on law 1 so I can have a little bit more time in laws 2 and 3 because those are a little more meaty. Law 2 is if you don't have predictability, you will not have sustainability. And I don't say that you might not have, I'm going to say it again. You will not have sustainability. You guys with me? So a lot of people ask me, Rob, I don't understand this predictability thing. So I want to play a game. You guys up for a game? I've got to be fast. Now I know we got salespeople in here, so none of us are good at math except for commissions. I know that. Okay? We can do commissions in our head, true or false? Yeah, she's not in our head. Yes, we can, okay? And so I want you to all pick a number between 1 and 10. Now get ready to move fast. You guys with me? Now, take that number, multiply by 2. Take that number that you now have and add 8. Okay, now take that one, divide it in half, and finally subtract by the number you started with. Everybody still with me? Okay, glad I don't see any calculators open, that's good, okay? Now we're gonna do what we do our salespeople, we're gonna get complex. So hang in here with me. Now take this new number that you have. You'll have a new number between 1 and 10. And I wanna grade it. If your number is 1, give it an A. If your number's 2, give it a B. If your number's 3, give it a C. 4 is D, 5 E, 6 F, 7 G, etc. You guys still with me? Okay, now with that new letter, use that as the first letter for a European or Scandinavian country. You'll say, geez, I don't know them, so let me help you. 1 could be Albania, B could be Bosnia, C could be Croatia, 3 would be Croatia, 4 would be Denmark, England, France, Germany, Italy, etc. You guys with me? Okay, so all of you should be sitting on a country now. Take that country and take the last letter of that country and use it as the first letter for an animal you would find in the zoo. So country and animal. Take the last letter of the animal and use it as the first letter for a fruit that you would find at any grocery store. You guys with me? And if you're like 80 to 85% of the people, right now as you sit here at Sales 2.0, you are sitting in Denmark, kangaroo, and orange. Show of hands if you did that. Look around. There will be another group that's sitting on Denmark, koala, and apple. Show me you guys. Yeah, there you are. Did you see that was north of 80% of the room? If you can't do that as sales leaders, if you can't layer complex activities over the top of what they do to get predictable results, we're letting them down. We need to know the activities that lead to predictable outcomes. Does that make sense? My favorite way of doing it is by separating process from outcomes. We have too many people that are outcome oriented and we can't coach to outcomes. Outcomes, they happen or they don't. We coach to activities. That's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned as a coach, okay? So, I like to do it like this. I like to look at outcomes one way and process another way. And I can have outcomes good or bad and process good or bad, and I have 4 ways of looking at my reps. If outcomes are bad and process is bad, I say you got what you deserve. Don't feel bad, you're right where you should be. Literally, okay? Number 2, if outcomes are bad and process is good, you're a little unlucky, I'm happy to be patient. 3rd, outcomes good, process bad, you got lucky. 4th, outcomes good, process good, you earned it. Now I'm going to show you how you use this. This is something that we built and we designed because it takes all the emotion out of talking to a rep. All of us have our reps that say, hey, if someone's underperforming, 100% tell me, Rob, be patient. You know I've never let you down. Yeah, we're nodding heads. You know I've never let you down. I won't let you down now. Well, patience is a risky game because last year only 44% of people hit their goal. You guys with me? So I'm going to show you how we use it. The way we use it is there's 3 types of process points that I rarely see people coach to. I see people track them, but not coach to it, okay? The first one is the dollar value of new opportunity starts. Real simple formula. Dollar value of starts is equal to goal divided by win rate. This gives you a very custom, very unique coaching point that takes a custom, unique goal, divides it by a custom, unique win rate. You may say, I don't know it. Well, then we need to use your CRM differently because it's very easy to get it. You guys with me? Okay? The second one, the number of deals. One is the number of dollars, the other one is the deal flow. Take your number of dollars that you need to chase and divide that by your average winning deal size. You do that and that will tell you how many deals you need to start on a regular basis to have an average deal flow. And this gives you an awesome custom metric on what does it take to be average and win. I don't have to be career best every single day. Does that make sense? If I'm just average, what do I have to do in order to win? I love this one. The last one is the most predictive one, and that's speed, sales velocity. Unfortunately, I don't find as many organizations as I thought I would that track velocity as a predictive metric. It is by far, no doubt, the most predictive way of knowing if a deal is behaving the right way. So I look at it as from start to close, but I also look at it as timing in each stage. Now, the other thing I'll throw in is if you're not tracking pushes, you need to. Pushes, if a deal comes and it doesn't win and it doesn't lose, it just hangs on, that's the fastest way to know if it's not behaving right. And too often as leaders, we don't get in and find out why. After the second push, I always circle the wagons. That's a tip that I would give you as a coach, okay? Here's how you use it. Let's pretend that you have someone in here at Sales 2.0 that should be at 1.9 million. So right there on the crossbar is at 1.9 million. That's if they were on at where they should be. They're sitting here at 2.45. So they're either lucky or they earned it. 100% of the time they're going to tell me that I'm so lucky to have them, and maybe I am, okay? Let me tell you how we find out. Number 1, I do my calculation and I find out they should be at 603,000 monthly in new starts, but they're at 960. So that looks pretty good, doesn't it? Not only are they hitting it, they're set up that they're going to hit it in the future. The next thing that I'll do is I'll look at speed, and I find that they have a 0 to 90 days is where their sweet spot of winning is. If I look back at the deals that they won in the last quarter, I can see that it was 45 days to get it. So they handled their business nicely. But more important is, I look at the age of the current opportunities in the pipeline. They're only 22 days old. Young and fresh pipeline looks really good. This person's set up to have big things happen. I love it. Now, I left one of my metrics out, didn't I? Number of deals that I'm chasing. Well, in this one, I take the average number of dollars divided by my win rate. They needed to start 9. They've only started 6. So that's a watch point for me. What I don't know is, did we have a coaching goal that we're going to try and win bigger deal size? Maybe that's what we're doing and they're executing on it, right? Or maybe they just happen to get some bigger deals. I need to know why, because it's not normal. It's outside of the norm, and as a coach, I want to make sure that we are completely in charge and in control of what we do. And the reason is, there are only 2 kinds of salespeople and only 2 kinds of sales leaders. There are those that take what they want, and there are those that take what they can get. True or false? Okay? So if you don't know which one you are right now as you sit here, you're probably a take what you can get sales organization. Okay? Because by definition, you should know what you want. And so I use tools like this to take emotion away. It's especially helpful when I have someone on the bottom half because they always tell me, trust me. Hey, I will trust you, but what we want to do is get process right first. Here's why. Process drives predictability, and this is the quote that I want to leave you this rule with. If process is good, success is inevitable. If process is weak, success is unsustainable. And I mean that today, not in sales process. I mean that in coaching process. I run a company that helps build the world's greatest coaching systems. And we've done it for some really big companies. And I can tell you, most companies that I talk to do not have a really nice coaching process. They invest in sales process, but they stop there. I see a lot of heads nodding, okay? It's the best investment you're gonna make. It's the thing that will pay off more than anything else next year. Gotta get to number 3, because I am on track, Alice. okay? Level up. It's the law of intentional improvement, okay? I want you to ask yourself for a minute, what makes someone want to change? Is that a fair question? What makes someone want to change? Because as a leader, we shouldn't compel people to change. Is that fair? The legendary leaders they're the Pied Piper, right? People are lining up wanting to follow them. You guys with me? What makes them want to change? And I don't look any farther than my own children. My kids, I have failed as a parent. I got the laziest kids ever born, okay? Love them, they're awesome, but they are lazy. I tell people they work whenever they dang well want to. And hopefully I'm not alone, that there are some people that have that. My oldest son really thinks he's the next NFL Hall of Famer, and so at 16 years old, I can't get him to do anything, but this guy does stuff that most kids his age don't want to do. He gets up early. He doesn't sleep in. He hits the weights, right? He works on his footwork. He does he has 4 receivers that meets him before school on the field, and they run routes. And he does stuff that really I'm surprised that a 16-year-old would do. My youngest has special needs, and we have a similar challenge there that it's hard to get him to do stuff. When the Pokemon Go thing came out, I never saw this kid catch on to something so much. And I watched him not only going out playing the game, but he would come back and he would find online forums on how to beat these characters and how to win. He would watch video on how to win. And the difference wasn't, we were talking about what needed to improve on, it was more of, I'm so motivated by what's in front of me. Do you guys see the difference? Being motivated on what's in front of me is way different than, you better fix this skill gap, right? In fact, when I used to teach this principle to organizations, I always talked about identifying skill gaps, probably something we've all heard. That's the wrong way to look at it. Skill gaps is a negative way of looking at it. We got to instead turn that around to what's the value of what's in front of us, okay? So great coaches don't focus on what's missing, they focus on what's in the next level. Okay? Now, this is going to be something that I think will be very helpful. This is one of the first things I do with every company I work with. If you're like 98% of the companies that are taking sales seriously, you know your sales stages, right? Outcomes are driven by sales stages. Is that a fair thing to say? Okay? So congratulations, you're in the top, you're like 98% of the rest. If you want to cut it in half and make it the top 50%, then you start tracking advance rates by stage. Okay, that's top half. Easy to do, tons of people can help you do it. Let's make it the top 10% though. So if outcomes sit on stages, what do stages sit on? They sit on activities, okay? They sit on activities. If you want to go to the top 2%, then you'll coach to the skills inside of those. Most organizations that I work with don't have a good understanding of skills that drive activities, activities that drive stages, and how stages drive outcomes. And that's why it's hard to coach. Fair? Because we don't have a clear understanding and buy-in across the board that these skills drive these activities. That's where I always like to start. So that takes us to a part, then when we say, how do we practice? And I think that unfortunately, too many times we'll hear this.
We sitting here, I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice.
Well, Coach,
I mean, listen, we're talking about practice. Not a game, not a game, not a game. We're talking about practice.
All right. Salespeople, don't make me practice. Let me sell. This isn't the game, right? We've all heard that, haven't we? Why more training? Let me go sell.
We sitting here.
How does a salesperson practice anyway? That's hard, isn't it? Fair to say? We have role play, it has its place. We have some other things we do that has its place. But when you scale, isn't that hard to do? Because you still have to corral people. There's a lot of challenges. Most important part of this is why it matters. Here's why. Sirius has a really great study that all of you should pay attention to right here. Number one reason reps don't hit their quota is they have a hard time articulating value when the chips are down, okay? When they're in a competitive situation, they don't know how to tell how they're different, and here's the reason. Almost 90% of the time, they say pricing pressure has intensified, and 70% of those people say, when I'm in a pricing pressure, I don't know how to really differentiate between the people that are lowballing me on costs. And I see some heads nodding, okay? So here's where I get surprised as a sales coach. Less than a third of companies give their reps a way to practice. Less than a third. So if you could give them a way to practice, you give them an advantage. I want to show you a way that you can do that and use technology to scale. If you're wondering how to help them practice, you need to consider video. Now, the reason I say that authoritatively is because other people have told us that. Your reps have told Forrester and people like that 75% of the time, their preferred method of learning is through video. And hopefully that doesn't surprise anybody, okay? You need to use video because that's what they want to use. And you can use that to push best practices in front of them. There's a number of people doing it, but I still think the person doing it best is HireVue. They're here. You should find a time to talk to them in between sessions or after, okay? You can take those practices of what those skills look like and you can push them right into your CRM. So in this case it says, I'm competing against this customer with this product in this stage. What's the skill that I should work on? It tells you the skill to practice before you go. You can practice it, submit it to the coach. The coach will get back to you, with a lot of different ways, and you can get queued up and ready to go. And not only practice before a sales call, you can create a library of best practices that they can self-coach. Imagine YouTube with your sales skills. How helpful would that be? YouTube with, like on this one you can see here, what do I have? It says message delivery would be one skill. You can see all the message delivery. You can see objection handling. You can see all of those things. If you don't have this tool, there's a number of ways to do it. One of the premier providers of it is right here at the back, and I would encourage you to find out how it could help, because if you don't have a way for them to practice, you're letting them down. Here's a way that Waste Management, one of the biggest selling organizations, one Selling Power's top 25 to sell for, that's why I wanted to include them here, they socialize what are the known challenges through their CRM, and instead of saying, here's the best way to do it, they have a link that says, look at how to do it. Isn't that more helpful? Look at how you overcome this objection. And then they'll create a monthly skill drill is what they call it, and they push it out to their rep in their phone. And it looks something like this. Here's someone that's trying to set an appointment. Watch how they do it. Boom, 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 boom. They watch, and then they say, was it good or bad? And they would say, not a good call, and they would practice, show us how you would do it different. Their coach would be able to get involved and help them level up their skill. It's an easy way to scale, and reps like it. They like it, okay? It's a way for you to really take it across the board. Honeywell is supposed to be here today, and one of the things that he would have shared with you is just the sheer amount of volume they're able to do in helping people practice. Look at some of the stats that those guys have. Look at how many practice sessions. Look how fast they speed things up. So if you say, my reps don't want to do it, if you do it in video, they will. Okay, I got to be done, okay? I want to leave you with this. Don't practice till you get it right. Practice till you can't do it wrong, because I got 4 minutes left. And I want to get into the last law. Okay, last one is paint the target. It's the law of the leader. I want to start with a video. Okay, watch what happens when we model what awesome looks like. Watch what happens when the leader stops. Okay? In the last 2.5 minutes that I have, I'm going to tell you why this video matters. And to do it, I want to take you to two creatures in mythology. The first is Greek mythology, and it's Medusa. Okay? What happens when you look at Medusa? Turn to stone. How much do people want to see her? We all hate her guts, right? We want to chop her head off. Okay? Now I want to go to the next creature of Roman mythology, and it's Janice. And the reason that the first month of our Roman calendar is January is named after this dude right here, okay? He had this great power, the ability to see the past and create whatever future he wanted to create. And he was so powerful that the first month of the year, the Romans would come and bring the best of whatever they had, the best of their flocks, the best of their fields. I'm a firstborn son. I would have not made it past the age of 8 if I was Roman, because I would have been given up to Janice, okay? Now, look at the picture. Looking backwards is negative, isn't it? But see how bright and positive the future is? As sales leaders, we have to do that for them. And let me show you why. Some of the research we've done at XVoyant, we asked our sales leaders, if you take coaching closings away, what do you coach to? 87% of the people say they coach to engagement, feel-good business. 72% of people say they tell them to coach to retention of what we have. 50% say let's be a good soldier and sell the team selling stuff. And the final one, only 13% actually coach to sales process. Isn't that interesting? You don't win the dart game by hitting the outside rings, do you guys? You gotta hit the inside bullseye, okay? I got 1 minute, I wanna leave you with this. This is the 4 things you do if you wanna be Janice with your team. Opportunities multiplied by deal size, multiplied by win rate, divided by length of sales cycle, equals customer money. Coach these 4 things. If you got 10% better at them, so instead of 10 deals, you make it 11. Instead of 1,000, it's 1,100. Instead of 90 days, it's 81. you will grow by 48%. I'm gonna say it again, you'll grow by 48%. Okay? So, I wanna finish with this. Law of cadence. Commit to consistency and you'll win. Commit to process and you will not get distracted by outcomes. Commit to intentional improvement and you will find that you can help people grow faster than they ever thought. And finally, commit to painting the target. Model what awesome looks like. And you will move from being just a manager in someone's career to a legendary icon that helped make someone become better than they ever thought possible. Do this for 52 weeks and you yourself will be a legend to more than the people you work with, but for your company and in the industry you work in. I finished with 10 seconds left. Okay? If you want to talk and continue the coaching conversation, it's my favorite thing. Enjoy the rest of Sales 2.0. Let's make it Sales 3.0. We'll see you later.